Yes, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whoever you are, wherever you are, welcome back to Football Heritage TV. It's been a week or so since we've been live, but we're back and Spurs have signed 2 players. Spurs, are they moving differently? Who knows? We'll get into it. Not going to do any of the dramatic thumbnails and all that nonsense. Anyway, Corey's here, Gary's here. Gentlemen, happy Sunday. Well, Sunday evening to Corey. Gary, it must be Sunday early afternoon for you?
Yeah, about 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. Well, happy Sunday to you, lads. How you both doing?
Recovering from last night's shenanigans.
Yes, the fhtv barbecue yesterday, which for the second year in a row, I picked a Saturday where it was torrential rain. So we cooked in the rain and almost had a house party. I do just want to say condolences to Lubo, who finished second in the FHTV quiz again. And I don't want to brag about winning it for a second year in a row, but I did win it for a second year in a row.
PGMO are involved.
Yeah. Look, gentlemen, Gary, how are you? You good, Gary? You well?
Oh yeah, it's beautiful out right now. It's not too hot.
Nice.
Lovely day. Just went out and had some. Oh, you'd love this. Have this like great frozen yogurt place that I just had. Phenomenal. Like I know you're a sweets guy like I am, so.
Oh, he doesn't like a good sweet.
I know, Corey. I mean,
I literally just had to be fair, Lubo to mine yesterday bought all the desserts. Sorry, Stanley's here. Can you go away, Stanley? All the desserts, and there was a whole tiramisu left. So myself and my wife just polished it off between us, and then both went, oh, like we just feel. Anyway, football, guys, it's really interesting. Lots of noise, loads of drama. Like I'll be honest, I hardly watch YouTube anymore. But what I do every now and then, guys, is I just sort of flick through my feed, and everything's so dramatic. Like the thumbnails are like oh my God, I can't. If Spurs rivals YouTubers from other clubs going, if Spurs pull this off, they are back. Spurs fans saying we must get Champions League. Gary, let me start with you. It's all a tad dramatic for the beginning of the summer, isn't it?
Savva, we have signings and it's not even July yet. Is this Tottenham Hotspur? Who's taking over our club? Oh my God! Like, yeah. I mean, I think it was What's up, Cor?
Don't do the faces.
It's like unexpected expected because we didn't know if we were going to be in the league, right? These 2 guys were floating out there. We'd known about them for a while, but then I think like the last game, we make it through, and then it's like, okay, let's see what happens. Usually something happens and we flub it. Looks like we got them both over the line per Romano and everybody else, Plattenberg in there. So, yeah, I think they're both sensible signings. I'm glad to get this business done. They're on a free. They both have quality in their positions. Obviously, Robertson's a little bit older, but he's kind of stopgap what we need, for the next season or 2. Let's see if Sousa can grow and mature. And if you say no to Senesi, I can't see why you would do that. Like, I just can't see who would really say no unless you like have a specific profile that you're looking for, and he absolutely doesn't fit it.
Gary, do you know what, right? Like, I shouldn't be like this, right? Like, we should live in a world where all opinions matter. Hashtag opinions matter, right? This week, I've done a couple of videos on my way to work, like 10-minute videos about Senesi. And I'm at the stage where anybody that responds to me about Senesi that isn't happy with that or wants to tie it to Vuskovic or blocking his, I just think stupid. Now, I know that sounds harsh, Gary. I know I shouldn't be like that as a YouTuber, but I literally just go, there is no reason at all why any Spurs fan can find a negative in Senesi joining Spurs, let alone the fact that it's a free transfer. Corey, am I right about that with Senesi? Like, this is just a great deal, right?
It is, but it benefits us as well because he's coming into that sort of like peak 29 to 34 bracket that centre backs are coming into.
Sure.
When I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is solid. But how are we going to set up now after these free transfers? Are we still in for Van Hecke if Brighton have knocked back yet another bid.
Mm.
It can only go so long with Van Hecke as well before he just says no and he goes elsewhere. But this is solid, shrewd business from Brighton, not Tottenham right now.
We're not Brighton. I know you live in Brighton, Corey, but we're not Brighton. We're Tottenham.
Yeah,
okay?
we are.
If we were Brighton, we wouldn't be needing major surgery every single summer. But look, we'll get into the Van Hecke piece later because I think that one of the things I want to talk about this evening, guys, is I've said Spurs start the window with a bang, and what I mean is sensible signings early doors. I think is what I mean. I'm not pretending that we've signed the two greatest players in the world. I'm not pretending that we've spent hundreds of millions. But what I want to move on to a bit later, Gary, is going to be more about, okay, you've managed to get the deals done where you're one-on-one with the player and the agent, but now the deals where you have to actually go to another football club, another business and say, hey, we want your player. That's different, right, Gary? Because now we're talking about you've got two sides of the coin rather than just can we offer what the player wants, right? So that's going to be the telltale for the next month or so, isn't it?
Now we got to be shrewd. And it's interesting in the negotiations because I think we have 25 years of Daniel Levy, right? Really hard nose, not budging. Sometimes he wins, sometimes he loses, but it just, scarred probably everybody. And so we're kind of coming in with that frame of reference. And so negotiations, we chat about this. Like you can't just go in and give them exactly what they want because then you're not really negotiating. I mean, unless you really need that player. And but for somebody like this, or like we said, if you're with Van Hecke, you should go in a little bit lower, right? Like you have your targets there, their targets, you try to kind of figure it out, meet there. So that's where I think it's going to be interesting, with Van Hecke, with Savva, which sounds like it's ongoing right now, with the striker we're supposed to get, with the ball playing midfielder that we all know we need, but we haven't had for, a long time, and then potentially a goalie. So,
yeah, I think that's the key thing, right? Like I'm, I always say this in our WhatsApp group, right? You boys know this isn't Football Manager, right? I see so many fans that just say things like, get me boom, 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 boom. And you're like, whoa, like we're not the only football club in the world. We're not the only we're not the only club that's going to be going for these players. So like Van Hecke, for example, yeah, we know he's interested in Spurs. Otherwise we wouldn't have bid, we would have talked to his agent, but just because we want him and put the money down doesn't necessarily mean we get him. And that's not just about Van Hecke, Corey, right? That's about lots of players. We want them, but we're not top of the pecking order, are we? We're not like, right now, Arsenal, let's be honest, Arsenal, Man City are top of the pecking order.
Yeah.
Liverpool are still Liverpool. They're going to be at the top.
Man United are still Man United, regardless if they've won anything.
And yeah, Man United are Man United. Plus, they've got Champions League now, and so I feel like it's expectation, Corey, versus reality with our fan base quite a lot of the time.
Yeah, I definitely see it as like that as well. It's just so backwards from some of these fans. So I was heard on another stream the other day that someone said they are expecting us to go from 17th to 6th this season. I'm like, okay, with some of these players, are you sure? And then you're sitting there thinking, no, I can't see it. I just want us to stabilise, bring in some better pros, some better players than what we have. I mean, out of
Corey,
contract
just
right
before
now.
you go on, I always find it funny, mate. I don't know if you agree, and sorry for interjecting, but we're sitting here on June the 7th, right? And people are going, next year we should finish. Like, we don't know what the window looks like. Like, right now, I don't think, and first of all, I'm not a big fan of where we should finish because I feel like be a football club that looks at the bigger picture rather than one season, right? Look at the bigger picture. But when people are going, we should finish 6th, we should finish 5th, 4th. How are we judging this, Corey, when we don't know who we're bringing in and we don't know who's leaving? How are they possibly judging that?
Well, they must be sitting in fantasy land with that, with their rose-tinted glasses on still. I'm sat here as a football fan and a Tottenham fan thinking, where are they picking up this? We're finishing between 6th and 4th this year when for the last, forget about the 2 seasons. We had that one where Ange got us to Europe, finished 17th for the season after that, but we've had since Poch left, a lot of up and down, very up and down years where we finished in the table. And I just don't understand where people are getting this rounded off idea of where we should be finishing. What, because we're Tottenham? No, any team should finish wherever because it's the Premier League.
Yeah, and by the way, Emma, you're absolutely right. United did, but just because United did doesn't mean we will. By the way, doesn't mean we won't. I think what we're saying is, Emma, is before we sit here and talk about we should be finishing there, let's actually see what we look like as a football club in 3 months' time. You know, right? We're at the beginning of June. Got, we don't kick off the season until late August, right? Or the third week of August. It's, if I'm not wrong, we've got 11... I might be wrong. 11 weeks until the season starts. I just feel like it's too early for. I don't know what you think, Gary. Like I always find it pretty funny when people go, "We must finish there," and you're like, "Based on what?" Like let's let the summer commence, and then let's all have the chat of, "Oh, I think we should finish there," right? Or am I taking the fun out of the guessing game?
You're no fun, Savva.
What
if all of our players? What if all of our players get hurt at the World Cup? Let's not cross our fingers that doesn't happen. But we know, Sav, that we need goals, and we still haven't got any players that are going to get us goals. We know that our midfield isn't good enough, that it got ripped apart, right? Because we had inexperienced players in there, or we didn't have the right players, working together for, game after game after game. So, I mean, it's great. We're showing up the defense. Hopefully we get Van Hecke if that's really who De Zerbi wants. And then, we still have to do business. And we still, we always talk about in the chat too, we got to get these players out. We got to thin down the squad. We just have people that are sitting there that it's good. It's important for them. Like, again, it's time for Biss to go. We know that Sarr needs to go. He should go play football somewhere else. He should go to a team that fits him where he can get, first team and do all that. The kids probably need to go out on loans. There's a ton of stuff we need to do. So we can't rate anything right now. As much as we all give Sean crap, a lot of the business happens at the end. That's just how it is.
Sure.
They build up, and so if we get Savio and Van Hecke, then we'll be doing pretty good. And then it will probably slow down from them. We probably won't get much, during July into August. And then, our last signings will probably come in within the last 2 weeks, knowing how we do business historically.
I think it's going to be only from what I'm saying, I feel like this is going to be a window of two halves. I feel like this is going to be a window for the last 2 weeks and the next 2 weeks. And then I feel like there's going to be this lull. And then once the World Cup finishes, I think all the clubs are going to go absolutely mental. Now, that doesn't mean that there will be no signings throughout the World Cup. Of course, players can still move. There's this notion that no one can be signed during a World Cup. It's just not true. Also, countries aren't in the World Cup, all of them, for the month, right? I think everyone assumes that all players are in the World Cup for a whole month. But look, I want to start. Let's have a look at the two signings we've made so far. Corey, I think I've seen so many dramatic takes on. Let's start with Robertson. Right, we'll start with Andy Robertson, and I've seen so many dramatic takes with fans that are like, "Oh, he's shit. He's a club signing. He's finished," and you're like, this is the sort of signing that loads of other clubs make. Newcastle will make, Villa make these sorts of signings, Corey. And we all go, "Oh, that's a sensible signing, a senior pro, solid." When we make it, I feel like we go out of our way, Corey, to find the negative rather than go, actually, this is sensible. This is good for a few years for Spurs. What do you think?
Yeah, we need that, don't we? We're crying out for men in this team, not prepubescent teenagers that some of them just don't look that great playing football. I look at Bergvall, keep thinking, dude, you're in the wrong sport. Take up American football as a middle linebacker. You like running into fucking people. There's your sport. I look at Sarr and I'm like, 4 years ago, everyone was, labeling him like the next big thing. And he's not really stepped up to it. And I'm seeing things online, like on X, on Facebook, like, someone said, "Oh, we should be keeping Sarr because," I was like, the guy's absolutely pony. I don't know what you're talking about. Then another one come up, keep or sell Bergvall.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, there's more sensible signings out there. I mean, Frank Kessie's coming out on contract out in Saudi. I mean, I would take a look at Frank Kessie. as a midfielder. He's still got something about him, 29 to 30 odd years old now, Kessie, and he's just as a good senior pro to have in your midfield.
I mean, when you look at it, right, like I get it, right? Everyone wants everything. I completely get it. And in an ideal world, right, lads, in an ideal world, would I love Spurs to go and drop 60, 70 million pounds on 11 new players and build an 11? Yeah. This isn't an ideal world, right? And I've seen people say, oh, this is a club signing. But there's nothing wrong with a club signing, Gary. There's nothing wrong with that if there's a plan. And what I mean by that is, if you're De Zerbi, Gary, okay, and Spurs have told you, I mean, he'll know, we won't. Spurs have told you roughly what the budget is, right? So you've got this much money as a budget, plus if we sell, you've got this percentage of the revenue made to add to that. So what we've got here, if you fancy it, is we could get Andy Robertson over the line on a free. What would you say? Because De Zerbi, we can bring this guy in, experienced winner, great mentality, captain of Scotland on a free, and that frees up budget to go and buy in other areas. Like for me, that's doesn't mean he has to start every game, Gary. Doesn't mean, oh my God, it's the greatest signing ever. But for me, I think this is a really good player to add to the squad for so many reasons. Where are you at with it?
Yeah, well, I mean, like you said, there's a pie, right? And that's our budget. We don't know what that is. We think it's maybe 150. It could be up to 200, 250 million, likely not. And where do you need to spend it the most? Like, where are the most urgent, targets? And like you said, he's a seasoned professional. We have no Europe, right? We got a Dogie. He'll probably be hurt like half the season. So maybe Robertson plays half the game. So he's going from Liverpool, high stakes, playing, not only in all the cups, but also in Champions League and the PL to, maybe half the time now. So he's going to have a lot of time to rest. I think that he fits in for our priorities, right now. He's not the first team, guy. He's the backup, we'll call him. And we need the money, like we said, hopefully for that ace midfielder, for that killer striker. So yeah, I think he's sensible. I mean, who else are we going to get at that point? We're not going to probably get somebody to displace Udogie right now. So get him in, get like 2 seasons out of him. Either Udogie gets fit and stays fit, or he's going to go. And then hopefully Sousa gets, we can get him out on loan for a year or two, and maybe in 2 seasons he'll be ready. And then we go get somebody, and then we're solved again, and we're solved for like 4 to 6 years. Yeah.
But the thing is, Gary, it doesn't mean, and by the way, you're absolutely right. I hope you're well, my man. So fans need to realise Spurs need to learn to walk before we can run. And this is the problem, dude, right? Is we are in this position where 2 17th place finishes hasn't made some of the fan base humble. It's still left them going, we want amazing. Like, I'd love Spurs to go and put £50 million down on Anthony Robinson of Fulham, for example. But how would fans feel if we spent 50 million on a left back and that took away from 50 million on a striker, for example? Like there's got to be X amount of money, right? You can't just buy everything. And one thing that I thought was interesting is I keep hearing that Andy Robertson's finished. I keep hearing this. It really makes me laugh when people say this. I feel like this is knee-jerk. I feel like it's really dramatic, right? This guy 1 year ago was the left back as Liverpool won the league. One year ago, right, was the left back as Liverpool won the league. Now, that doesn't mean, again, lads, it doesn't mean he's got to play 38 games a season. But if you're telling me, Carl, we've got Andy Robertson at left back, I'm never going to go, oh, God, he's shit. What, Andy Robertson? I'm going, well, yeah, he's levels on Udogie. Right? Like he's levels on Destiny Udogie. So I feel like we're moaning for the sake of moaning. I genuinely don't know if everybody feels the same as me. Corey, are we moaning for the sake of moaning about Robertson, the fans that are moaning?
Yeah, I think they are. I mean, he had something that we don't have really, and that's a bit more leadership at the back and a bit more experience. So again, you're hitting 2 nails on the head. Winning mentality. His nations in the World Cup. What more can we want from this lad? He's won things where he's been. So it's not hard to see that he's something that they probably sat down there in meetings and tick boxes, and they're not just going to rush into a signing on a free just because it is that. He is a good player, and saying a left back and a right back's finished at 32, can I just say that? Kyle Walker is still playing football and he's like, what, 38, 39 now?
Sure.
So it's like, is he washed up? No, because he still has his pace.
Yeah, I think people, you can look at Robertson in his heyday and go, oh my God, look, he was flying and got loads of assists. But players mature, players adapt. They don't have to be the same. But I've just picked out 3 fullbacks there just to give an idea of their data from this season. So like somebody in the scout, big up Scott M, said, "Oh, Trippier is better than what Robertson is," and so I thought, let's have a look. And when you actually look at the data, Trippier is not really better at anything other than assists than Robertson. And that was Robertson on a year where people are telling me he didn't have a good year, right? So when you actually look at this, and again, not just this, I use my use eyes as well. I think it's a good signing, Gary, from the point of view of Destiny Adogi's never had anyone to learn off. Now, I'm not saying he'll be here, but Sosa, who's he going to learn off, right? The leadership. He's the captain of Scotland. He's the captain of Scotland. He's played for Liverpool. 1 year ago, he's lifting titles. Are we being a bit arrogant here, Gary? Like we do this every summer, Gary. Last year, it was Rashford and Grealish aren't good enough for Spurs. This year, Andy Robertson's not good enough. Are we being arrogant again?
We need 2 solid pros in each position, right? That's what we're building to, and we haven't had that. I mean, we bought the kid out of nowhere last summer, and he came in, and obviously RDC's probably like, hey, he needs some more time, and it maybe the championship, maybe in Bundesliga, who knows, or just to learn from somebody like Robertson, but we're building towards that. And then once we get 2 solid pros, or maybe we have like 1 top pro, then we can start changing them out like we've talked about. But that's going to take multiple transfer windows, like summer transfer windows, not just January windows. So it's going to take time. So I don't want to say it's a stopgap, but at 17th for 2 seasons, to your point, just because we want somebody doesn't mean those other people want us. Right? Like that's where I feel like sometimes the arrogance can be, hey, yeah, we want to go get world beaters. Of course we all do. Like we'd all say, drop $1 billion and just go change out the whole squad, but that's not how it works. Right. This is a business, and there are, we're playing within FFP and PSR as well. So I think it's solid. I mean, you looked at his stat there. It looks like if we were to get him, Van Hecke, and Senesi, they're all pretty solid progressive passers. That's something that we've been lacking. I mean, Romero was good, but Romero was also hothead, in and out, getting hurt. Like some games great. Some
guy's a powder keg.
Yeah, exactly.
He's always waiting to go off, that guy.
Exactly, Corey. So we're starting to see, okay, maybe this is what De Zerbi wants, and maybe he happens to fit. We have some struggles potentially in the air, so we got to watch that, which is why having Danzo around is really good. But there's no player that's like awesome at every single thing. That's just not going to happen. So cool. I think it's good. And I think, let's kick on. Let's go for what we really need are the central midfielder, the striker that gets us goals, and potentially 2 wingers, not just Savia. We probably need maybe a right winger as well. We probably need actually both a right and a left winger, like 2. We're not going to get them done, but let's get some goals up front. The front 3 have just been shambolic the last 2 seasons, and it's made it horrible to watch because we get the ball right to the final third, and then we just stop and we play horseshoe garbage.
And it just comes back, doesn't it? It just comes back at us. Yeah.
They're allergic to putting the ball in the net.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
The interesting thing is, if you look at the players we're linked with predominantly at the moment, well, if you look at Robertson and Senesi has done, one's 32 and Senesi's 28. So clearly, I think fans can be annoyed, but yet the same fans love De Zerbi, and I think De Zerbi's not an idiot. I think De Zerbi has gone in and probably gone, I need some men. Do you know what I mean? Like I need some leaders. Same people that, and I'll say it, I feel a bit vindicated. The same people that when Gallagher came in, what we brought him in for? Well, he was crucial to keeping us up. He was, that sort of leadership. So De Zerbi immediately, for me, I think is realizing that this squad needs men. It needs leaders. Even Van Hecke, I mean, he's 25. I think Van Hecke's 25. He's played in England now for 5 years. I believe it's 5 seasons he's been in England across a couple of clubs. So, I feel like a lot of it is drama. I feel a lot of it is clickbait. I feel like a lot of people are now just trying to get annoyed. And I'll tell you what's annoyed me the most, guys. And I talk a lot at the moment because I only stream once a week. Tell you what frustrates me. When people say club signing, right? lots of clubs that actually operate well don't buy just for a manager. They buy for the club, right? They buy for the club. This notion that you can only buy for the individual manager is crazy. So I'm really happy with it. Solid signing, but I don't know. Anyone want to add anything else on to Andy Robertson?
I can't think of anything. I mean, apart from what he brings to the team as a whole, he also brings that training ethic that he had from Liverpool. So he's gonna have that mentality about him as a higher standard of professionalism. So he's going to bring that to the team. Maybe the way he does things out of training and off the field, like you never seen him embroiled in something in the papers or all over Sky Sports. So again, more professionalism from the guy. Maybe
maturity,
dietary things as well come in. Some of these players might go, "Oh, what are you doing for a diet? Because you look like you got bundles of energy, and I'm struggling a bit." Maybe they'll start learning a little bit more off of him because of what he was at Liverpool, and it'll all trickle down, and then like his professionalism will come down onto the younger players, and then as Robinson's starting to fizzle out, these younger players that we're hoping are going to get somewhere may end up on a level close to what Robinson is as he's going out the door.
Well, look, let's move. We'll move to Senesi, guys. Gary, we'll move to Senesi. Again, I think we said this at the beginning of the show. For me, this is going to go down as one of the best free transfers of the summer, and I don't even know who else is going on a free transfer where. But this is a guy that's got unbelievable data. But more than that, like with our eyes, we watch and go, God, yeah, what a player. How are you feeling about this signing?
Yeah, this is great. I was pumped when we got, not the full here we go, but, the contract signed and physical's done. This is what we want. We've been talking about this for a while. We want depth at positions. We want really solid professionals. We want, players that can not only pass, put in a tackle, that, don't get out of position, that really can read the game well. Like these are the type of players that we want. Yeah, maybe he's not like, has the greatest pace, but like outside of, we have a real gulf because we have VDV who's like the freaking Lamborghini, right, of the PL, and no one else is going to be like him, or very few players are going to be like him, right? He's just so fast. And then there's going to be people in between, So yeah, it would be great if he had a little bit more pace. But if De Zerbi doesn't play, maybe like drops the line a little bit back, or plays the pairs together, I'm sure he will. Like you said, he's a sharp guy. Then I just think that this is great business. Like we're filling gaps. We're not having to spend tons of money. And then this is where the club needs to go out now, and they need to go get a midfielder and a striker and a left winger or not. And that really help move us forward, right? That's how they show the board with all those, PR stunts that they put out there, that they're really committed or that they're getting the right people in there. I mean, we obviously need the DOF in too. So it's a start, right? It's a start.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think that the key thing is as well, imagine you were buying a Senesi and he had 3 or 4 years on a contract, right? You're talking about a lot of money. So for Spurs to wrap this guy up on a free transfer, Corey, I think that's brilliant business. There's a lot of people who've been worried that, now Iriola's gone to Liverpool, he's going to nick in, and Chelsea are going to come in because they need centre-halves. But I think this is a really good signing from Spurs.
Well, he's been solid for a good few years now since he's been in England. I mean, he's had to step up in a team where their backline was decimated at the start of last season. Players going to Madrid, everywhere else. All their players were like poached, like that always happens at Bournemouth. But he's stepped up and he's been a leader for that team. So again, he's added a dynamic where he's going to come in with the sense of professionalism, hopefully actually see what a good defender is next to Romero, because Romero, for me, in the last few seasons has really let me down as a fan.
Agreed.
So maybe we're going to get this guy in and he's going to show the younger centre-backs what it really is to be at his level. He may be lacking a bit of pace, but his statistics over the last few years, especially last season alone, are just mind-boggling. Number one for blocked shots in the Premier League, progressive passes, long passing, everything that you just sit there and you're like, wow, he's a centre-back. Shouldn't he be playing as a deep-line playmaker that we're crying out for in that sense? But he can play that role from a centre-back's position. It's just ridiculous. Finding the quality of passes that he was doing last year. I think I remember one where I can't remember who Bournemouth were playing, but he carved it over the top of 2 players, and Krupi ran onto it and scored. And I was like, oh my God. You know, when you watch a match of the day at like 11 o'clock at night, you're like, hang on, that goal's pretty tidy.
Yeah, it's a great signing. And for me, I again, sometimes these signings don't have to, Gary, they don't have to be glamorous. I feel like nowadays with all signings, everyone wants the shiny, sexy name, the £80 million player. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Spurs shouldn't buy any that fall into that sexy category. But I've wanted this for a few years, for Spurs to get a few signings in where you go, yeah, sensible, like a solid, sensible signing where you go, yes, no frills, but they're Senesi and Robertson are solid Premier League experienced pros. They're not going to let you down. I'm not saying they're perfect, but I don't have any concerns. But let's move it on, Gary, right? Because now we've got those 2 free transfers. The cynics, of which I am one, which you are probably one, and Corey is definitely one, and we are well within our rights to go, okay, good start. 2 free transfers. Now what are we made of, right? And I think this is where a lot of the Spurs fans are going to have their eyes peeled as to, as you know, from the West Wing, what's next? And that's what we're going to be looking like, Gary. What's next?
Yeah, and as everybody should, right? These were scouted out before the season. Sounds like personal terms we talked with them about. They were close. So all that due diligence was done, you know. So it's like, great, we got these, but we knew that this was going to happen. Now it's like, okay, Savio was from last year. If he is the right profile for De Zerbi and what he's looking for, you know, on the left, that's great. You know, not having Daniel there will make it probably a lot easier to deal with City now. So hopefully we can get that one over the line. I think the real test comes up with Van Hecke now, right? Because it looks like we put in 2 bids. We went in at like maybe 40. We went up to 45. They want 50. We don't know what the terms they want, but you know, whatchamacallit, Paul, was it Paul, whatever his name, came out this morning. Like I talked for it. Yeah. And he was like,
Paul Barber. Sorry,
Paul Barber. Yeah.
Paul Barber,
and,
yeah.
you know, he's doing his thing. He's doing right by his club, right? Because he's trying to get the most for his side. So you can't blame him. But we have to go in there and we have to go, you know, aggressive, professional, get it done, and not let Chelsea or Liverpool or whoever else is out there come in and nick this deal. So those are the ones, not the Savios and everything. Like these are the ones that I'm starting to look at. And then, like we said, it's the striker and it's the midfielder. Like that's where, okay, maybe there is something happening. Now we need to see January. We need to see next summer. We need to see a pattern of this. It's not just a one-off, but this is where I'm going to start to look and see, has the club really changed?
Yeah, I make you right. I think the key thing here is, let's start with Van Hecke. I mean, what we've got to understand, and we're having this conversation earlier on, is just because we want Van Hecke doesn't mean that nobody else will want him, right? So I think there's this belief among Spurs fans that if we want him, we just get him. Now, maybe there's a world in which Van Hecke has said, I only want to sign for Tottenham. I don't believe that, but maybe there's a world where he said, I only want Tottenham, and therefore it's going to be about, can Spurs put down the money and get him? But there's also another world where other clubs can put the money down and get him. And the worry always is, Corey, is if bigger clubs than us come in for players, we are not at the top of the pecking order. So, you know, I'll ask this, are fans, are we right to be expecting Spurs to get a Van Hecke, or is this hey, we tried and couldn't get him because a bigger club came in scenario? What do you reckon?
I'm hoping that we do get him because another very good centre-back. But then we have to realise there's the footballing food chain. In all of this, you've got Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man United that can just pump out wages and not bat an eyelid. And they've all got backing and the money to do so. We also have the money, but it's if our owners really want to fork out what Brighton are asking. And then it's gonna, if this drags on any longer, Van Hecke can turn around and say, right, you've played your hand too much. Now I'm not going to move to you. I'm going to look elsewhere because you didn't want to pay that extra 2-3 million to get it over the line. So you didn't want to show the faith in me by just paying the 50 million that Brighton asked. I mean, I joked earlier on, Brighton could just stick a year's contract extension, give him a little bit more money, and then turn around and say to the rest of the league, all right, now we want 100 million because he's just signed an extension.
Yeah, that won't happen, but I hear you. I hear you, but it isn't the interesting thing here more about Brighton are in a position where they're not financially struggling, right? They're not financially struggling. So, yes, he's got 1 year left on his contract, but if Brighton turn around and say, we want, I don't know, 60, 65. Now, we as fans can sit here and go, oh, that's loads of money for a guy with 1 year on his contract. Then the flip side of that, Gary, is if it's the guy that Spurs really want, you've got to weigh up, do we, we can't sit here every year and go, oh, our owners are terrible. They don't get what we need. And then on the other hand, we've got people going, oh my God, I wouldn't spend 60. One, it's not your money, right? And two, we complain we want the club to do the best thing for the club every year. Then if they do, we complain that they're paying too much. So what's the balance here with someone like Van Hecke with 1 year left?
It's not my money. I don't care. So go get it. Yeah. Like, that's all. That's the way I look at it. Like, I've never thought about, oh, that might be too much for a player. I'm good on him, right? For being a top quality professional and being great at his craft. Like, and $5 million is nothing in the scheme of things. If you have somebody, right, that like plays for your club for 4 or 5 years as a top professional that wins you games and helps you get back into, Europa and then Champions League because there's the money there. So to me, that's nothing. So I just hope that this is the, kind of, I want to say typical, but it's just a haggling situation where we're close. Everybody's working it behind the scenes. That Chelsea and Liverpool are sniffing around, and we see that. And then that makes us kind of go in, with this last bid. We get the terms right and we lock up the deal. Like, this isn't that difficult for somebody like this. It sounds like he's interested. I mean, it's tough to like trust all the ITKs in the internet, but it sounds like he's interested, in Tottenham, which is good for us. And, we haven't heard of like 4 or 5 clubs, right? We're only hearing potentially 1, maybe 2. So it sounds like things are on our side for right now. But Corey keeps, he's right. Like, things can change in a minute, right? Somebody could get hurt at the World Cup, and then, whoever, like, Man U's like, oh crap, we need this guy. So I mean, like, the situation's fluid, so we need to act fast.
No, absolutely. Well. Sorry, go on, Corey. Go on.
I was going to say with me as well, it's going to be De Zerbi brought him in down this end. He saw the potential in him at 20. Does that connection still correlate between the manager and the player? Do they still have that, or does this player have more loftier ambitions to be playing Champions League football or some sort of European Cup football every year, or does he want to come to a club that is again in a project rebuild stage? We've been using that bloody word for God knows how long with this team, isn't it? Every season's a project or a rebuild, and I'm starting to feel like in this fan ethos,
it's why I don't use either of those two words, Corey.
We need to ban them words.
Yeah, for me, there is no project, there is no rebuild. You can't rebuild from nothing. For me, Spurs need to actually build a football club.
Yeah.
But for me, we aren't anything. Who was it? Someone said the other day, I thought was really good. He said Spurs are nowhere. And I thought that was great because it wasn't derogatory like Spurs are shit. It's just like Spurs are nowhere. No one right now could tell me after the last 5-10 years of this club, what are Tottenham? What are we? We're not seen as a threat to the big boys, right? Yeah. We're not top of the pecking order. We're not a team that plays free-flowing football. We're not a team that has a history of scouting really well. We don't buy the best player. We're nowhere. We're nothing. And that's what they've got to build, right, lads, over the next 4 to 5 years, whether it's De Zerbi and then De Zerbi and he leaves and someone else, whether it's Lang and, I don't know, whoever comes in as director of football as well, they've got to build something, not for 1 year, not for, oh my God, we finished 5th, we're back. No. They've got to build something, Gary, that is 5-10 years, that we've got an identity, right?
Yeah, because we're not who we used to be. right? We're not the
Sure.
team that had Huddle and Waddle and Gaza and Bale and Modric and,
Exactly.
Ginola and all those great players. And even though like maybe each individual team, wasn't the best. I mean, the Potch era was, kind of the pinnacle and the couple of years with Redknapp and stuff. We felt like we had, more of an ethos, right? We won cups, right? And we had those solid forwards that they just had class, right? They just they, with the ball, you're like, get you out of your seat, and we don't even have that anymore, right? We have 17 finishes, and thankfully we got a trophy. We kind of muddled
the trinket cup.
Exactly, Corey. So, but we really have to build, and I mean, if we think that this is the right coach, right, to build around, he plays the right type of football, he's got the right mentality, he can lead. We need to put all the pieces around him. That's not just the players. That's the medical staff. That's the DOF. That's the board.
Coaching staff.
Exactly.
Everything.
The coaching staff.
Everything.
That's not.
I mean, Bruno going with De Zerbi is a touch of class, because what Bruno did for everything down this end, it brought the fan base in and made them believe in the team with De Zerbi. So having him as the assistant manager, Bruno is a very nice bloke outside of football as well. If you ever get a picture with him or talk to him, he's always got a time for a fan. So yeah, I mean, players,
that's all
guys
important,
like that.
right, Corey? That's all important. And I think the thing for me is, when I have conversations away from YouTube, they're a lot calmer, and I think people are a lot more grown up to the fact that it's not about 1 year. So let me give you an example, right? If Spurs finished 5th next year, 5th, 4th, 6th, whatever, people lose their mind. Oh my God, it's amazing. For me, I don't care about 1 year. 1 year is great. It's like when people went, "Oh, Ange got us fit." I don't care about 1 year. It's about what are we doing as a football club over a period of time. If I'm Tottenham right now and the owners have come out and said what they said, didn't they? I mean, Charrington came out and said,
Yeah,
"Hey, we took our eye off the ball for football for years. We need to get back to that. We're going to challenge." Cool. All right. For me to believe you, right? I don't care about 1 year. I don't care about one summer window, lads. It's all well and good if we have a great summer this year. I care about what's the sustainability. Don't finish 5th next year, for example, and then we go, we're back. No. That's 1 year. Finish 5th and then go, right, how do we go from 5th to 4th? What do we need to do? Which players do we need to go, right, you were good enough to get us there, but you're not quite good enough to get us there. So that's my thing about it, guys. And this is, I think, the difference between people get really happy over a few things. Like people going right now in the chat, if we had De Zerbi's win rate for the last 7 games over the season, we would have finished 6th or 7th. That's not how football works. Can't say over 6 or 7 games we would have done that over. Do you know what I mean, Gary? So it's I want to see what we're building as I want a road. I hate to bring business talk into it. I want a roadmap, Gary. I want a roadmap. You know, when the CEO has an all hands meeting, goes, right, guys, here's our 5-year plan. We're here. These are the milestones, and this is the end goal. That's what I want to see as a fan.
I mean, as much as we dislike them, Sab, that's what Gooners have been doing, right?
It is absolutely what they've done.
And we can be, thumb our nose at them and call them bottle jobs and do all that stuff, and that's fun, but they've taken it on the chin. They've cleared out their squad. They've stuck with Arteta, and they've been building, and they've had ups and downs, but they're not going to just give up that position anytime soon. And they've got a squad to go for the next number of years. So,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, sorry, Corey, go on, mate. You were going to say something.
It's like when the Newcastle guy, when they took over, they were like, right, this is where we want to be in X amount of years. What do we need to do it? Chelsea, when they first got brought out, what do we want to do in the next few years? We want to be winning the Premier League, so let's go out and actually invest. I think what it is with our board over the last 20 years is do well, okay, at the start of the season, then it starts crumbling, bring out a fluff piece to try and get everybody back on side so they can renew season tickets. Yeah. Then once season tickets are renewed, that's when they take their eye off the football, and that's when the whole idea goes out the window for them. So as long as it's generating money for them and then not really seeing the fruits of their labor as a football ownership, not a sports entertainment ownership, that's when they should be doing this. They should have been doing this when they should have backed Poch. They should have done this back in Harry. Every year there's been another excuse as into,
to why we can't.
Why they do it. We're going into our 10th season in this so-called game-changing stadium. The only game-changing thing it is washing money for their dirty money in their pockets. That's the way I look at it.
Well, look, I just think, the statement from Charrington was telling. I think it's the first time that somebody's come out and basically said, look, we forgot. I'm paraphrasing, but literally, like, we forgot about the football. Essentially what they said, right? We took our after ball. And it's like, okay, cool. That's great. We all knew that. Great that you've now realized it. Now it's show me. So when people are going, I think we could finish 6th or 7th, I'll sit here and say right now, guys, I'm bored of this game every summer of where are we going to finish. I don't care where we finish next year, as long as I see that we're progressing. As long as I see there is a team that's being built, that they're allowing De Zerbi to implement a philosophy. And I don't mean, they've allowed him to build it for 4 months. We've had 4 or 5 bad results, and then all the fans want him sacked, right? Let's get behind the manager, Gary. Let's realize there's going to be some road bumps. Let's realize there's going to be months maybe where we go, oh shit, we've not won a game for 4 or 5. But I just want to see that we are heading towards a common goal. I don't care about the odd 5th or the odd 6th. I want a common goal. I don't know if I'm alone on this, but I just want a goal. Like, I want something to achieve.
Something for you to believe that they're actually on board with what you are as a fan and what you're seeing for the team, instead of them every year pumping out an apology piece as to halfway through the season why things go wrong.
Yeah, Corey, more than that, what for me, what it needs to be is we need to get to the stage where, as a fan base, we talk about ENIC so much, don't we? Yeah. I think we will know when we're going in the right direction when we stop talking about the owners. Like when we start getting to transfer windows and go, really good window, that cool, they've backed it up with another one, and we stop going on about ENIC and we stop going on about being bought out and selling shit. I think when we get to that stage, we'll go, we've got a well-run club, Gary.
Well, we need football. we always talk about, right, like styles of football. Like, I think that's going to be the indicator right now. Obviously, it's the players, right, with the manager and those building blocks that we're putting in place right now. But it's like De Zerbi has a very different style than what we kind of obviously had under Frank. Tudor wasn't anything, and so we need the type of players that can actually play that, where we can see it on the pitch, right, where we can see more aggression, where we can see it at in the final third, right, where we can get some production there, where we don't lose the ball, where we can actually pass it more than 5 yards, right, where we have a little bit of flair. It doesn't have to be, we're not going to be like Galacticos or, we're not going to be Prime Barcelona or something like that. But like, we just need to see some progression, right? And to your point, top, maybe even within like 7th or 8th next season, I would be fine, right? Like top half. As long as we see that the football is progressing and that the whole goal is to make the football team good. It's not to do concerts, right? It's not to do NFL. It's not to do F1. It's not to do anything else. It's to make that team more competitive and winners, right? To get cups, to get glory. Like, that's the reason, right? We all support Tottenham. So if they're doing that, great. If they're not, then, I hope at a certain point that lights the fire underneath the fan base to be like, okay, then we're going to have to push on these guys because they're not doing it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, Gary, the thing for me is you've hit the nail on the head there. You named 3 managers. We could do this game for the last 15, 20 managers where it's this tactic, that tactic, this, and each manager is going to be slightly different, but at least be in the same wheelhouse. You know what I mean? At least have the same philosophy in the kind of short in the long term. And I think that was the key thing for me is, if you bring in Ange and you want to play, I mean, Ange is a gung-ho manager, right? Not my cup of tea, but you bring in Ange, bring in the players he needs. Okay, you don't do that. Brilliant. So then you go to Frank, who plays a complete reverse of what Ange does. Cool. I've got no problem with that as well. But bring in the players he needs. No, we don't do that. So now we've gone to De Zerbi, who is not like either of them, but plays an expansive style of football when he gets the right players. But for me, it's about give him the right players. But more than giving De Zerbi the right players, Gary, we need to know that if De Zerbi walks away, let's just say in 6 months, I'm just spitballing here. Barcelona in 6 months go, oh, we want De Zerbi. And De Zerbi goes, oh, I can't turn down Barcelona. I just want to know that the next manager that comes in is in the same wheelhouse so that the players that have been bought under De Zerbi can function with the new manager because they're not going from ultra defensive to ultra attacking to wing backs to fullback. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because we already went through Conte and Jose, and yada, yada, yada. Like, we can't keep doing this. At least, we started with Ange and okay, we know he's gung-ho, right? But we're kind of building around him, and maybe some of the signings weren't the best. Some of them weren't. But it feels like a little bit more of an extension with RDZ, right? He plays similar, not, exactly the same, but in a similar vein, right? We can't go back to your point, and we can't go back to a more pragmatic style, I don't think, Now,
sure.
Does that set up the return of Poch? I mean, lots of people want that. I watching him, on the sidelines of the US match the other day, the guy always looks cool as hell. I got to be honest. He always looks like a badass, just sitting there, long hair, fucking doing his thing. So I give him all the credit in the world. But maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's what we're going to do. I'm fine with that. I really would like to see RDZ get a couple good years here, but let's have that consistency. Where are we going? What's the vision? How are we going to get there? Everything in the same direction. Get it done. That's what you do in the business world. When you don't, you fail and you're washed out and your company is kaput. And they've just got they've got the land, they've got the stadium, and so they're riding on that right now. And so the football is taking a back seat. The football needs to be first.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean,
Corey, always been first.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, Corey, I think it's interesting, right? Because, as Spurs fans, and I think, I've calmed down so much in the last year or so, the way I talk about Spurs, because I realize it's just football, right? And my life has other aspects to it. But we argue all the time, not me and you, just in general. We argue all the time about this manager, that manager, this player, that player, this director of football, that director of football. But what would you want to see in the short term to show that they have changed, to show that they are seeing now what a lot of the fans that have been seeing for years and what we've been asking for? What would be a few telltale signs from their point of view?
For me, sack Lange.
Okay.
Sack Lange. I might start listening to you a bit more. The guy couldn't scout a Mars bar and Asda. So I'm sat here get rid of a crap director of football, bring in someone that's competent at the job and knows what they're doing. I mean, Villa didn't bat an eyelid when he was like, I'm off to Tottenham, lad, see you later. They were like, right, great, finally we got rid of him. So, what else could this board do? Back it up every summer, and in the winter, if we need to sprinkle in that extra bit of quality. But your summer window is your main window to get shit done, to address the wrongs of the season before.
Mm-hmm.
When we brought in Gallagher, I was like, solid player, that. Can't wait to see what he does. And then there was parts of the fan base like, oh, Chelsea reject this, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it's mad.
You do realise Poch didn't want to sell him. He was his captain. It was the board that went behind Poch's back and sold the player. And you're sitting there you got to feel for the player on that one because he grew up as a Chelsea boy.
It's funny, Corey, because I almost feel like when Spurs make sensible signings, we seem to find really strange ways of putting them down. But then with a lot of the fan base, when we sign absolute unknown kids, we find ways to really hype it up. And I've always found that quite funny, right? De Zerbi came in immediately. What did De Zerbi do? There was none of this experiment with Bergvall, with Gray, with Sarr. What did De Zerbi do immediately? Nah, I'll have Paulinho,
on the bench,
Gallagher, and Bentancur, right? He went, I'll have the 3 experienced pros, please, in my midfield. They're going to help me get out of trouble. Most Spurs fans are sitting in my chat room every week going, Gray's got to play. Bergvall's got to play. Sarr's got to play. And this is why I always laugh, mate. This is why when Gallagher signed and I said, yeah, this is a good, solid player, right? Everyone has to go over the top, Corey. Shit, he don't offer anything. And you're like, right, well, Poch loved him, made him his captain. Spurs fans love Poch. Unai Emery wanted him at Villa, didn't he? Unai Emery wanted him at Villa in January. Diego Simeone signed him, right? Thomas Frank said every club wants, him and Potts both said every club would love a Gallagher. De Zerbi said it's like playing with 12 men, but half our fan base are going, nah, not what we needed. I question our fan base, Corey, essentially is what I'm saying, and that might piss off half my viewers, but I question whether our fans actually understand how other clubs operate with sensible signings versus what they want for Spurs.
I think it's because they can't take their hatred Chelsea hat off, you know. Oh, he played for Chelsea. That's why I hate him. That's why I don't want to see him at Tottenham, blah, 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 blah.
Sure.
Over the years, how many players have gone between those two clubs and played for each other's teams? Over the years, there's been, 8 separate occasions, I think, recalling over the past 40, 50 years. Yeah, I know, but I mean...
Mate, there's loads. I can think of off the top of my head, I can think of Gallagher, Kudicini, Gallas, Poyet. Like, you know, I'm sure there's been other...
player.
You know...
Love the Poyet.
I feel like the whole... So, you know, professional footballer played for another club. Boo! Oh, God, grow up.
It's their job at the end of the day.
That's like me working at Google, right? And going, sorry, that's like me working at Google and saying, I'm bringing in this this executive from Facebook. Boo! No, he works at Facebook. No, you. Oh, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Grow up! Like, what are we doing? You know.
I mean, I would rather have Gallagher, Polinia, and Bentancur over Graysar and Bergvall any day. Those three, I wouldn't bat an eyelid. The latter to get rid of. I wind up Lubo a lot by saying like the only reason why Gray's in football's off the back of his granddad's name. So a very average player. Saar, the guy could run. Just stick him out playing like out track and field in the Olympics. He'll bring home a gold medal or two, wouldn't he? Because how rapid he is. But he's not a footballer. And then Bergvall, like I said earlier on, the guy's in the wrong sport and should be a middle linebacker, man, running at the wide receivers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Covering that deep 6 route, go and smack someone.
Oh, yeah.
Play as a middle linebacker, dude. You're in the wrong sport.
And he's got that fire in his eyes, like he's looking to hit somebody, which is, you know,
exactly.
Like he like gets that grin on his face. You're like, oh, nope, wrong sport. Like, no, you're absolutely right, Court. Like Gallagher, like, you know, used to watch him play. We all watched him play at Chelsea, and like he was quality there. But it's got to be in the right system, right? They had the right system, the right team around him, and obviously, you know, with Poch, like when Poch went in there, he actually took them up. Weren't they at like 16th and took them to 6 or something?
Oh, they were terrible.
Yeah.
The problem was, Gary, they started badly under him. If you remember that season, the first 10 games was the complete opposite to Spurs' 10. So our 10, I think we won 8 and drew 2. Chelsea were terrible, but then between the 10th game and the 38th game, I think Chelsea would have finished 2nd or 3rd in the table. So Poch got them going. You're right. It's Gallagher for me is you know what you're getting. It's not that, oh my God, Gallagher's amazing. But you know what you're getting, and every manager loves him. And if every manager loves a player, Gary, don't, as fans, you have to sit and go, why?
He's available. He's got a gas tank. He can press. It's work rate, right? And we've seen him in the final third in certain times. He can score. Like we saw that goal, you know, this year in the season. So, like, we're not saying he's a world beater. We're saying to build a squad, these are the type of players that we need. And that's what
the building blocks.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, no. I know it's not dramatic enough, Corey. I know for people it's not dramatic enough. And what I've realized is my channel isn't dramatic enough compared to others. There's no thumbnails. There's no let's go in deep on these, like on every signing. Look, there are going to be players we're linked to where I go, this player isn't for me, right? But I feel like as I've got older, I don't want to just find the negative in every single signing. Like, and I said with the Gallagher signing, people were going, oh, what did he do under Tudor? Like, what do you mean? He was being played right wing. He was being played right wing back, right wing. You know, I think he had a little stint on the left wing and DM. And it's like, if you bring in that player, play the player, Corey, in his position. Get the best out of him, right? And that's not just Gallagher. That should be everyone.
Stop trying to stick square pegs in round holes. You put the square peg in the square peg, and that's how it works in football.
Sure.
Right, you can be a player that, like, as a winger, like Savinho, he can play left and right, but he predominantly plays as an attacking player. You can't take someone like Gallagher, who's essentially a central midfield player, and go, right, your game now is to play defensive midfield, but I'm not a defensive midfielder, mate. Go and play left wing. I don't run. I sit in the middle and I dictate the tempo of the game.
Yeah.
But you want me to play left wing? You know, it's like it's going to be like one of those days. I remember when Harry Kane went in goal for us. Can you imagine that? Gallagher, right? But all the goalkeepers are injured, mate. Go and play in goal.
Yeah, could you go? Yeah, could you go and
If
goal?
Harry Kane could do it, that would be the one amazing.
Harry Kane letting a clanger, an easy save.
he's just class, but yeah.
Well, let's talk about the midfield then, because this is something we talk about a lot in our WhatsApp group, right? This is, you know, it's the one WhatsApp group I've got. This is the conversation that comes up a lot. I've said, and I don't mind saying this again and again and again, I want to see Spurs evolve in midfield. You know, I think we've got the Gallagher type. We've got the box-to-box guy with the press, with the work rate. We've got that. I think we've got runners. For me, what I think we really need, guys, and I'm hoping De Zerbi feels the same, because I've been saying this since Moussa Dembele left in 2019, right? I promise you, for anyone who's watching me, I've said this for 7 years. Gary, we need a ball-playing midfielder that controls games of football. We need, I'm not saying these players, Gary, before people in the chat go, man, we need a profile of a Wharton, an Anderson, a Gomez, a Locatelli, a Rodri. We need that mold of player badly for me.
Oh my gosh. Well, I was just watching a bunch of Dembele clips the other day just because I was like, oh my gosh, this man's amazing. You're right. And Locatelli just signed a new contract, I think, like last summer. Of those, if we really wanted to splash the cash, I think Wharton's maybe the most gettable. I don't know. Like, I don't think that. Yeah, I think it might be, and he would be phenomenal. Like, that's going to open up so many things. It's just a delight to watch players like that. Like, you know, like the way that they can move on with the half turn, the way they can, you know, just look up and bam, spray that ball down the right or the left. You know, all the watch-alongs that you did the last couple of years, Savva, how many times was it just like, oh my God, you just passed it out of bounds. You just passed it to the other team. How did you not make that 5-yard pass, right? The most simple thing, you know, and it wasn't like every single time they were crowded, right? Or they were double teamed. It was like they turned around and just shot the ball up without looking, right? They didn't have that composure, which is what we're looking for. We're looking for quality, composure, you know, and it's not, I won't say it's rare, but it's not, you know, an easy thing. Everybody doesn't have it. That's why they do cost more. So going back to our conversation, get those free signings in to put the money where we really need it. And this is where we really need it.
Yeah. I mean, Corey, I agree with everything Gary said there. I've personally, this is what I think Spurs don't have that all the big clubs do, Corey. So when we talk about closing the gap, let's be fair, we're so far away from these clubs at the moment that it is now a closing the gap. And the worrying thing for me, mate, is it used to be, right, how do we close the gap on Arsenal, Liverpool, City? Now it's, how do we close the gap on
Leeds.
Villa? Right? Well, yeah, forget Leeds. That's a one-off season, right? But how do we close the gap on Villa? Over the last 3 or 4 years, Villa have established themselves as a top 4, top 5 team. And what all of these clubs have got, if you look at Villa, they've got the absolute perfect blend in midfield. You've got Yuri Tielemans, who is a wonderful passer of the football, really good passer. Yeah. You've got Kamara and Onana, who are box-to-box, break-up play, get the tackles in. You've got John McGinn, who is just all action, floats right, floats left, scores goals, puts in, you know, all action. You look at Arsenal. Declan Rice runs the game for Arsenal every game. Declan Rice is the main man. You look at You look at Chelsea with players like Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo, and then giving the ball to Palmer in front of them. You look at City; they've got Rodri, and if it's not Rodri, they've got Nico Fernandez. That could not Nico Fernandez, Rodriguez. No, who am I thinking of? Yeah, he's Rodriguez, isn't it? Who am I thinking of? Nico. Why can't I remember his surname? Help me out. Someone quickly. Nico Gonzalez, right?
Oh, he's from City?
Yeah.
And then you look at, you know, you look at these clubs. You look at Newcastle with Tonali, with Guimaraes. we're the only team, Corey, that don't have players we don't have players like them. We don't have them. So for me, I've wanted this for 7 years, Corey. I will cry if we get to the end of this window and have not addressed that again.
We haven't addressed it, like you said, in 7-8 years. It's harder and harder now for us to actually find the quality of player like that. I mean, Tillemans' a free contract. You said a few years ago, get Tillemans. You had people going, "Oh, he's shit. He plays here. He plays there." It's like, he's shit, but he plays for Belgium. Okay, scratch your head. Move on. I mean, there's a few good midfielders out on that free list as well. I mean, there's a few that are leaving Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund this year. You're looking at players that are coming out of contract. Where is what's his name?
Who's that?
There's a guy at Bayern Munich, Leon Goretzka.
Leon Goretzka.
I would look at Goretzka. I'd have a look at him. He's on a free contract, but maybe he's got higher ambitions. You've got the lad that's at Borussia Dortmund that's finally leaving after all this time. Oh God, what's his name?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
It's absolutely flowed off the top of my head.
But they've all got them right, Corey. Like even Palace managed to go and get Wharton from Blackburn, who runs the game for them.
20 million.
Even Wolves have got a Yao Gomez who sit like Wolves. Wolves were the worst team in the league. They have a ball playing midfielder. It's like, how are we the only
club as well at Tottenham?
How are we the only club that haven't realised this for the last 6-7 years, that you've got to have someone that dictates play? I've never understood it, ever.
I'm just looking at Bobby Andrews' comment here about Alex Scott, about he plays as an attacking midfielder. We're looking for a ball-playing midfielder. Yeah. Alex Scott is that guy that sits behind the striker. He doesn't dictate the play from the centre. He receives the ball from the guy playing the ball from the centre, like we had in the day. We had Modric and Dembele, the good Dembele, not the burger-eating French bloke. But it's like, I just sit here like the quality in our team has lacked for 7 or 8 seasons now. Yeah. The stadium was a lie when it was supposed to be a game changer. I mean, the reason why Villa are progressing is because they're not afraid to spend wages and not look at the wage to turnover revenue turnover thing every year and go, got to keep it 45, 55. I think they spend about 95% of their revenue on player wages alone. And that's why Villa are where Villa are, because they're not afraid to spend the money on a player to bring him in. Yeah. And then if they don't work out, sorry,
just quickly on Scott. Listen, I think it's sort of halfway. Scott, for me, is a good midfielder. He's not the ball-playing midfielder. I like him. I wouldn't say no to him. But for me, he's not the guy that runs the game. And if you actually go and look at Scott's data, like I just have, funny enough, and it backs it up. If you actually, if you look at Scott's data, what I'm talking about there, look at all the passing stats show you he's not the ball-playing midfielder. Right? Carries the ball, yes. Duels, yes. Possession one, yes. But he's not a ball-playing midfielder in any way, shape, or form. Doesn't mean I don't like him, but I agree. I'm talking about the guy that goes behind that runs the game, right? Runs the game. So when people are saying he's the ball-playing midfielder, you can see here he's not. It's not his game. It doesn't mean he's not a good footballer, by the way, but that's not his game. Now, when you put in players like, let's say a ball-playing midfielder is this guy, right? Elliot Anderson, right? Yeah, now you're talking, right? Now you're talking. Now look at the difference. This is the levels, right? This is the levels we're talking about.
What's that lad at Everton?
Oh, Garner's exactly the same, right? Garner is exactly the same. These boys, Garner, if you look at James Garner in the green and Anderson in the pink, right? Yeah. These guys, when you watch them play, they are at the fulcrum, which is a great word I don't use enough, by the way, guys. I don't think I use that. They are at the fulcrum of everything their team does. So you watch when Everton get the ball from the centre-backs or the full-backs, Garner is always the guy picking up the ball from them, right? It's always Garner. It's never anyone else. It's Garner, right? When Forest do it, it's Elliot Anderson, right? When Wolves do it, it's Gomez. When Palace do it, it's Walton, right? Doesn't mean they haven't got midfielders that play alongside them. So Palace have Will Hughes or Lerma who play alongside Walton, but those guys are the guys that are buzzing around, right? They're not the guy that gets on the ball and dictates play. And this is what I mean, right? So this is where, listen, I like Bobby, but when he's saying no to Garner, Garner's very good at everything. Like Garner, if you look at Garner's data here to back up what I watch, he is very good at everything, Gary. Like let me just double check which color he was. He was he green or he was green, not pink? Yeah.
Yeah.
So Garner when you actually look at it, right, as a midfielder, you look at all of that. First of all, his duels and his possession one are absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. Not only that, when he gets it, his forward passing, his forward pass percentage, key passes and progressive passes are excellent. So that's what I'm talking about, not an Alex Scott.
So he has like Paulinho's ability, right, to put in a tackle to get the ball, but he can actually pass it once he get, which is beautiful, right?
Yeah.
And then you put a Gallagher with there, right, who can fly around, right, and then take some of the pressure off of him, give him a little bit more time. Man, we're cooking. We're starting to cook now, and you get that ball up to, Matters if he's not hurt or whoever's in that, in that role, and it's going to start looking a lot better. We're not going to be freaking cussing the whole time. So.
No, absolutely. So for me, my ideal would be a Garner type with a Gallagher box to box and a Maddison playmaker. That for me is what I want. I want the mixture of the three. I want the passing ability with the winning duels. I want the box to box ability with the pressing and chips in with goals. And I want Maddison as the playmaker. But there's a lot of people in the chat now saying, well, Maddison's our ball player. I think they're missing the point of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Maddison's a ball playing number 10. Maddison's the guy that drops. I'm talking about the guy that collects the ball from the centre backs and says, I'll start the game off.
That's what Matters has had to do, right? When he was fit, because we didn't have that. So he was going that far back, right? And then it wasn't working because he can't go the whole damn pitch, to get the ball there. Yeah. That's to your point. That's where the breakdown was because we didn't have that profile in there.
I can't understand.
Bobby, when you're saying he's not, sorry, just quickly, when you're saying he's not a ball playing midfielder, he is the guy that sits in the six and dictates the game for Everton. When you're saying he's not a ball playing midfielder, all of his data tells you you're wrong. This guy can do everything in midfield, and his passing is brilliant. And bearing in mind that's in a David Moyes system. Yeah. Now give him a little bit more room for expression. Listen, by the way, I'm not saying it has to be Garner, by the way, right, lads. I'm not saying, I'm just trying to give examples throughout the Premier League of clubs that have this type of footballer compared to Spurs, who have and this is going to go down like a lead balloon, who have a Paulinho that can do all the dirty stuff, but he's terrible at doing anything going that way. And that's the difference for me between us and other teams.
Yeah. Like football has always had it. Every team has that player, that one that sits in front of the defense, picks up a ball. It's like what Caicedo does at Chelsea. He'll sit further back, pick up the ball from the defense, drive forward, pass the ball on. That's what he did at Brighton. And you got players like Grimaresh and Tonali. Tonali is the guy that sits a little bit back behind Tonali. Sorry, Tonali sits behind Bruno, passes the ball off to Bruno, and Bruno does what he does with the magic with his feet. But Tonali can also play a ball, which is really good for him. World football is littered with very good players like that, but we just seem to have forgotten how to ID these players before they end up at a top club.
Can I say something, Corey, right? And this goes down like a lead balloon with our fan base, but I want to see, I will never make an apology for this. If you bring in somebody like De Zerbi, right, who evolves a football team, who implements a style, I want to see that we're evolving the players that we have as well to fit that. So when people go, oh my God, it's amazing, Paulinho, we must get him. For me, I want to see us move away from that. And it's not, I know it's tough on YouTube, right, Gary? It's really tough because if you say something, people take it verbatim. It's not that I hate Paulinho. I actively wanted him. But I think Spurs need to move away from that now. I think we need to move away from a player in the 6 that's limited. And I think we need to get the next level in to be taken serious as a football team. And I know that's going to go down like a lead balloon. And I know everyone loves him, Gary, because he scored a couple of goals in the 6-yard box to keep us up. But for me, I want to say thank you. But can we go to the next? Can we go to the next level?
So, yes, if we were going to do a full clear out, I mean, either way, I think if you could get him, I know that Bayern wanted almost like 30 for him. If we get him for 15, I'd probably lock him up for another season, right? Or 2. Now we need to go get the guy in front of him, right? And we keep him, right? We keep him to maybe close out games, to maybe play in, cup matches if we need to against, like, I hate to say lesser teams, but just like, like maybe smaller teams, like, and we keep him there so we can hopefully protect the guy that sits in front of him and he doesn't have to play every game. And then like a season or 2, he's going to be 33 at that point. He's already 31. Then it's like, hey, he's probably going to go off to Porto, finish up in Portugal and be done. So I could see keeping him, but we have to go get the person in front of him, right? So if we could get a good deal, lock that down. But at the same time, then Biss needs to go. Sarr needs to go. Bergvall, do whatever you want with him. Loan him out.
So let me interject here. Let me cause an argument for the sake of an argument, Gary.
That's right.
Whilst I don't disagree with you,
the
problem we've got is we play 1 game a week, right?
Yep.
And you've got Conor Gallagher, who's just been signed. So I think we all agree Conor Gallagher's not moving anywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got Bentancur, who's just re-signed a contract. Now, could be that they've re-signed him to get more money, but at the moment, he's signed a new contract. You've got Graham Bergvall, who, with all the best will in the world, whatever we think of them, I don't think are going anywhere, right? And now, if you sign Paulinho, you've now got 5. Now, that's assuming that Sarr and Basuma both go. Now, Basuma, we know will go because he's a free transfer, but that's now assuming that someone will buy Sarr. So my worry is, let's say Basuma and Sarr have gone. We'll do that game.
Mm-hmm.
If you sign Paulinho, you've got 5.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Gray, Bergvall, Bentancur, Gallagher, Paulinho. For me, the worry is, Gary, we're exactly back to where we were last season. Like for me, we've not evolved the midfield. So when people say to me, you don't deserve Paulinho. I'm like, Paulinho was great for what he did. But surely if we want to evolve and we're playing 1 game a week, surely the 5th midfielder we buy, it can't be Paulinho again because you're back to the beginning, aren't you?
Well, I would like to be more ruthless and have him and then be like, oh, sorry, Bergvall. Sorry, Gray, you guys got to go. So that's where I'm like, and then we bring in that other guy and I'm like, oh, these guys got to go ahead of him. You guys are young. We'll figure it out for you guys somewhere else. So I would do it that way.
I agree, but the reality, Gary, sorry, but I agree with you. And listen, right. Gary, you know my opinion. Right? In my eyes, I would love it if Spurs got rid of Basuma, if Spurs got rid of Sarr, and Graham Bergvall went on loan or sold, whatever. I don't care. I would love that, right? Then if you're saying, right, Spurs have got Bentancur, Gallagher, Paulinho, right, now we can go and get another 2, a bit more expressive that get on the ball. But the reality of the situation at the moment for me is, are Bergvall and Gray going anywhere? Like that's the, not whether we want them to. So I ask everyone in the chat, take your emotion out of this. Forget what you think of Graham Bergvall. Do we realistically see them leaving the football club this summer?
Nope.
We can hope. I mean, we might give Lubo a heart attack, but we can hope.
We could go back to that conversation we had at 2:00 this morning, Sav. I mean, being a ruthless businessman and ripping up contracts.
Oh, God. I'm not doing that again. I'm not doing that with you.
But
that was a horrible conversation.
It's also better for them. They're not going to get much playing time this season, to be honest, right? They need development, and they shouldn't be sitting around. They should want, to be out there playing. And you guys, we have good relationships with a few clubs. Not a lot because of Levy, but like there's a few that out there that will probably do.
Wait, are those the feeder clubs that we've got left?
Yeah, maybe PSG still.
Dynamo Zagreb.
Yeah, exactly. Fenerbahce or something. Like, they should want to be out there, right? They should want to be getting those game times. Hopefully their agents are pushing, right? And that's the type of confliction I want. I don't want it to be like, well, we have these spots, so we're just going to use you guys. I don't think, and it's not that De Zerbi is a bad guy, but he just knows football, and he's like, hey, you see at the end of the season, he saw they're not ready for this, right? This is a dogfight. They're not ready for this, and they're not ready for, the PL moving forward. So, yeah, they got to go. Business Star need to go. I would love a big clear out. I'm crossing my fingers, doing all my little prayers and everything, and hoping that.
Gary, me too.
Yeah, like this is
me too. By the way, when I say this, that's not me. I think everyone who watches me and has watched me for years knows my feelings on certain players, right? I'm not one of these fans who this week I like this player, this week I don't. It takes a lot for me to pivot and shift, right? I don't see a goal from a player and go, oh my, it's all changed. I'm not one of these where people go, Savva's in the mud because Tell scores a goal from 5 years. I'm not that guy. But if Spurs are going to act like you said, Gary, I'm all over it. If Spurs are going to go, right, it's I'll get there in a minute. It's Bentancur, Gallagher, Paulinho, and we're bringing in 2 more. I am all for Paulinho being in the squad, right? If we're saying that Gray and Bergvall don't go and Bentancur and Gallagher are still there, you've got one more space, right? Because you can't have more than 5 centre mids if you play 1 game a week. Because how are you playing them? How are you keeping them happy?
But we're Spurs, and we'll probably have 5 injuries by October. So
we'll talk about by tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Like, amazingly, everybody got hurt before the World Cup.
Hey, they'd have to go.
I know, they gotta go. Okay, here's so let's.
I think I'm so skewed in my opinion, Gary, because I am so desperate for Spurs to buy a ball playing midfielder. For me, it's my favourite position on the pitch. Not me. I'm an old man, right? It's my favourite position to watch, and I love watching a midfielder that can control a game. Even last night for England, hate the game, right? Horrible game. But watching the England game, as soon as Elliot Anderson came on, you see it. Get me the ball, right? He wants the ball. Shifting it from right to left, getting it in quick and receiving it, dropping off into space. I'm so desperate for Spurs to buy this, lads. I am so desperate. Having seen Carrick, having seen Moussa Dembele, having seen Modric, I am so desperate for Spurs to get one of these. Thanks, Warren. Thanks. I don't know what I've done that's cringe, but cheers, Warren. Everybody say hello to Warren. Hi, Warren.
Hi,
Warren.
Oh man, that's the way the game's supposed to flow, right? That's why you have that person in that position, so everything doesn't clog up or you get overrun. And so, it's a joy to watch somebody like we say, like Rodri. I mean, he's obviously just as class as there is, but yeah, we got to go. We got to get it. I actually see a lot of our fans, out there that do actually understand that we need that. We need that individual. So I'm hoping that, whoever's doing the scouting over there, Lange, Vinay, whoever, right now, they have some targets, and we're starting to have some of those conversations with agents, or we've already had them, and that's next up on that tier, right, of players that we need to get. So on that, Sav, if you could get one striker this summer, let's say realistic, not unrealistic, I'll put you on the spot. Who would you get?
So realistic, right?
Realistic, not like, oh, we can bring Harry Kane back.
Gary bringing the bants. Wait, where's Lubo? Lubo's told me for the last 3 years that Harry Kane's. Where is he? Lubo.
He knows the guy that keeps telling him he's coming back. So.
Don't you need to go get it out like the bat signal for Lubo?
he's listening. His ears just perked up, Corey.
I think for me, realistically, I would say someone like an Ivan Toney, someone like a Gonzalo Ramos, Jonathan Burkhardt from Germany.
Yeah.
It's a difficult one because I appreciate that the striker market isn't what it was a decade ago, right? I completely appreciate that. What I do know is there's plenty of players better than Richarlison and Solanke.
The kids down the street are better than him here in New York. Like,
Tony, for me, ticks so many boxes, it's unreal. Tony, for me, is Premier League experienced, homegrown, right? Good age with good experience. He's brilliant at holding the ball up. He's great in the air. He gets in the box. He knows how to finish. He takes a great penalty. Got that little bit of attitude, which, if used correctly, is good. For me, I would love to see Tony up top with Savio on the left and Kudus on the right. I think that would be a real powerful, pacey forward line with James Maddison feeding them. I know he's on big money in Saudi. I know people have mentioned that, but how many people have gone to Saudi and then come back very quickly, right? How much money do we think Tony has made in his last 2.5 years in Saudi, right? He's not short of money, right? I think he knows that if he comes back to anywhere that's not Saudi Arabia, he's not on 400 grand a week. So for me, I think that would be a really smart signing for me, Gary. That would be a really smart signing. That is who I would have gone for when we went for Solanke. That would have been my guy, Tony. So I'll say Tony, but it doesn't mean that, oh my God, I'll be upset if we go and get somebody else. But I like Tony.
What about you, Corey?
I'm trying to sit here and really think because, like Sav said, the striker market is really dry. And I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back longer than 10 years. I'm going to say a good 15, 20 years. There hasn't really been that many top standout strikers that have really caught my eye.
I don't understand comments like this. So what do you mean, Tony? Oh dear God. I don't understand. This is where I think Spurs fans say some crazy things. Like, we've got Richarlison and Solanke up top. Why would we not want Ivan? My mind boggles with some Spurs fans. My mind boggles, but never mind. Sorry, Corey, go on.
Yeah, the striker market's really dry for me at the minute. Like you said, it's not for me for like 15, 20 years. There hasn't really been an abundance of high top level strikers because it's such a weird position to find someone that's going to bag you that 25, 30 goals a season. I mean, I said last night at yours, I'd look at Mateta at Palace because of his strength and holding up. He's like Tony, but I mean, he's Premier League proven. Then Lubo said something about he's not that great with his feet. And I'm like, you're just watching the same Mateta.
So Corey, can you just ask me, Corey, why is Ivan Toney washed? I feel like sorry, I'll say this. I know Alex, so I'm going to say it. I don't care if I know Alex or not. He's a lovely guy, but fans like this just drive me insane. Why is Toney washed? Who on earth decided that Ivan Toney is washed? Why? Why do we get to make that? I hear this about so many players. They're washed. I heard this about Rashford. I wouldn't want him from Man U. He's washed. Goes to Barcelona and gets what? 25, 26 GA? What?
And a winner's medal.
What? Why is he washed, Alex? Sorry, why? I don't get it. I don't know. Sorry. I can't understand when people just say silly things. I need some on that. Gary, you know me really well, right?
Yeah.
I'm someone I need something that substantiates these silly comments. Can't just go, they're washed, they're shit. But why? Yeah. Okay, Alex, why?
Yeah. I thought
just your opinion, but why? Why won't he be at the same level? Has he forgot? Sorry, has he forgot how to play football? Because so would you take? Let's look at players who are currently in Saudi. Would you take who's the playmaker that was at Wolves?
Ruben Neves.
Would you take Ruben Neves, or has he forgotten how to play make because he's been in Saudi?
And also, Ruben Neves is on a free contract.
Exactly.
I don't get it. Our fans are crazy, man. Listen, fans like Alex, I'll say it. Alex, I love you. And if I see you at Spurs, I'll buy you a beer. You deserve Dominic Solanke and Richarlison. I'll say it. You deserve it. I'm just saying it. I'll put it out there now.
Yeah.
I mean, Tony, there's no way that guy's washed. He went there for the bag, didn't he? You know, life-changing money will stay on 30 grand a week at Brentford. You know, 500 grand a week to 30 grand a week. I think I know where I'm going. Yeah, I'm going to go for the sun for a few years. See you later.
Yeah. Yeah. He
I'm
doesn't need
going
the
on
money.
holiday to play football.
He doesn't need the money anymore. And I think last season, I mean, obviously it's the Saudi league. So, but I thought that he got like, I don't know, like 30, 40 goals. I didn't look at his numbers, but
last year in the league, I get that it's Saudi. By the way, I'm not saying that Ivan Toney comes in and goes and bangs in 30 Premier League goals. I think there's very few players in the world that come and bang in 30 Premier League goals. But for me, he gets you 17, 18, 19.
If he got us 15, I'd be happy with that. And get Solanke, doing some bits. And then, we get some, chips in. We get somebody from the Matters, Simmons. Maybe we get MGW one of these days. I don't know. We have to put it together. Like, we have to put it together.
Mm. Oh, but Bobby, you've got, honestly, mate, you're having a marriage. James Garner's a very good player. I know he's not the sexy name. I know he plays for Everton, but he's a good footballer.
I've got it. This is what makes him sexy. Change his name to Garninho and everybody will be all over him.
Mate, but this is what
Garninho play.
We turn our noses up at Spurs at so many good footballers. Not world class, not a mate. We turn our noses up at so many good footballers. James Garner's stats in the last 2 years at everything is very, very good. And Bobby's going, no, he's not good. But why? My eyes tell me differently. Well. And then the data backs up differently as well. Dude, listen, my eyes tell me, and then the data backs it up, Bobby. Very good footballer. Very good footballer. Just got a really unimpressive name, right? And plays for a really unimpressive football team. He's a good footballer. No one's saying he's amazing. Listen, I like Wharton. I like Wharton. I like Anderson. Can we get Wharton? I don't know. We're not getting Anderson. But again, if there you go, if we're so wrong, Bobby, if we're so wrong,
compare Elliott and Garner to Bentancur.
Like I can't even. If I compare him to Bentancur, it's embarrassing. It's truly embarrassing.
I want to see the Bentancur over there.
Like this is what I mean. When people like Bobby go, I'm not having it. Well, look how good he is at everything. Look at his strength as an all-round midfielder. And again, we don't want an all-round midfielder. So when people are going, he's not better than Bentancur, he's better than Bentancur at every metric.
Yeah.
At every metric, he is better than. By the way, I don't mind Bentancur, lads. I don't mind him. But how on earth when you're saying Bentancur's been injured, right? But that's how he plays. Let's have a look at Bentancur last season as well. Let's have a look, okay? I don't know what this is going to look like, by the way. So I
wonder if you can go back to the season before he picked up the injury.
I can't go back that far. It only goes back the last 2 years. So there's Bentancur in purple last year, right? So that was that was before. Still not as good as Garner. Better, but still not as good as Garner. This year, not good again. So he's got worse. James Garner's progressing. I don't get. Listen, as I said so many times ago, I don't understand our fans. I never will. We are so arrogant and turning our nose up at so many footballers.
Sander Berg's another good shot.
Sander Berg's a very good midfielder. Another one, Corey, who because he came from Sheffield United was it Sheffield United to Fulham?
He went to Sheffield United to Fulham.
Yeah, Sheffield United to Fulham. Another one because he's there. It's listen. No one's saying these are the only players, but these are good examples of players. Good example. Bobby, when you're saying it's mental, why is the data showing everything we're saying then? Why? Just asking for a friend. Why? When you look, I'll tell you what. Let's have a look at him. Here we go. Let's have a look. Now, I'm not saying he's Declan Rice. Declan Rice is top for me. Declan Rice is a top.
Are you lot wired up right, James? Oh my God.
Look at this. There's Declan Rice. So other than ball carrying, right? But again, because because again, and I think it's about being able to see a vision. One of them plays for the best team in the country. Another one plays for Everton, who don't play an expressive, expansive way of playing. Now imagine you drop James Garner into a team where they've got progressive ball-playing defenders.
Set up.
And they've got playmakers, and they've got wingers like Savva and Kudu. Now you've got the guy who can find more people. I'd take him all day long. Not my number one choice, Gary, but I'd take him all day long for me.
Yeah,
I like.
Wasn't Saido picked up by De Zerbi as well? So like, at least De Zerbi found Saido for Brighton. Like, what a great player that is.
I mean, it's not like we haven't finished 17th the last 2 seasons, so we can only get what we can get. You know, I mean, it's unfortunate. It would be great if maybe Garner's not the world beater, or he's going to be here for the next 7 or 8 seasons and rule the world, but he's better than what we have right now, right? I mean, he would improve, absolutely improve us, and then we keep building. So take him. If we could get him, we would love to get Wharton. Like you said, we're not getting Anderson, so maybe there's somebody outside, right? Maybe there's somebody in the Liga or Serie A that we could go out and get that's just absolute stud and come in and be a world beater, and but we don't seem to get those players. We don't identify them. I mean,
by the way, the link is in the chat for Bobby.
We're lucky. We lucked into Vuskovic. Let's be honest. Like somehow,
Bobby, I've got to ask, if you're not picking Garner or anyone that is better than Bentancur, Gray, Sarr, Bergvall, Garner could walk around with a blindfold on next to them and still progress the ball better.
Yeah, exactly.
I just think that sometimes I'm a believer in, first and foremost, lads, I'm a believer in my eyes have to tell me what first, right? And then I want to back up my eyes by going to look at data. Okay, I'm a firm believer in using your eyes watching a player. And whenever I watch Everton, if you actually just watch Garner, don't watch the game, just watch Garner, you realise he's involved in everything. Everything goes through him from a defensive standpoint to a starting off the moves. He's available for every ball. Now, players like that always get overlooked. They always get overlooked because they drop into space. They want the ball. Bobby, come on, why am I having a mare, lad? How you doing? You all right?
Listen, good evening, lads. I cannot get my head around this. I've been on a golf day. I've come back and we're talking about James Garner. No.
He was just mentioned.
No, stop. Listen, Sav, I agree with you, right? I say 95% of the time. The reason I watch your shows, I appreciate your honesty. You're the most honest person on YouTube. I just watch you, mate. That's it. We cannot be having James Garner. I've got a season ticket. I do not go to watch games anymore because we are absolutely pony. Do you know, if we sign James Garner, I won't go again. It's not happening. Sorry.
Well, okay, so Bobby, let's now remove some emotion, right? Let's remove the emotion.
I can't.
No, but we have to, right? For it to be a fair conversation, we have to remove. Hang on 1 second. Let me just remove the link. 1 second. 1 second, lads.
No worries.
There we go.
Just checking on the puppy. You're right, Ronnie.
Yeah, so if we remove the emotion and just look at a footballer, so what I put on the screen there, and just from a data standpoint, because obviously I can't put videos of him up. I'll get banned. But this is a guy that in the last year that he's progressed. He's progressing again. The year before that, which I can't show, is a little bit lower. So as a footballer, he's learning, he's growing, he's becoming more of the main man in midfield. Everything goes through him, Bobby. You can see here, everything he is good at, everything on the pitch for a midfielder. Look at the possession one and the duels. Now look at the progressive passes, key passes, forward passes. Everything is bloody brilliant. So what is there not to like about it?
I tell you what he is. The reason I said he's not as good as Bentancur, the only thing is most probably progressive passing. That's the only thing he has an edge on Bentancur. Aside from that, he's someone that just gets in and around you. He's a slight upgrade with passing on Polinia. But he's
slight upgrade.
He's a dogged. He's that type of midfielder. He's not.
So is this data lying to me?
Well, my eyes don't lie. I watch a lot.
Better get
But
the
you
spec
just
savers.
said, you just said, Bobby, he's only a slight upgrade on Bentancur's passing. Look at the data. The data tells you he is superior to Bentancur.
Right? Can I caveat that then? Let me caveat
go
that.
for it.
So the way Tottenham play football, or the way Tottenham have played football over the last 2 seasons, has been absolutely horrendous. We have been side to side, side to side, side to side. Romero holds the ball too long, passes it goes backwards, side to side. So the stats, as much as you say, oh yeah, do the stats lie? Yes, they do. They absolutely do. I guarantee you, James Garner will not be a person that De Zerbi goes for in any way, shape, or form.
Hang on, but Bobby, that's a different conversation. I've never said Spurs are going for James Garner. I'm saying we need this type of player. Now, to counter your point, when you're going, Spurs in the last 2 seasons have been side to side. Sorry, what are Everton as a football team? Are they a really fluid, progressive, forward passing football team?
Last season they were.
No, they weren't.
No.
No, they weren't.
Everton wasn't a progressive passing football team. Yes, they didn't go side to side and backwards like Tottenham do.
Sorry, but we went backwards under Ange Postecoglou.
Oh, I'm not even talking about
All we did
Ange
is fly
Postecoglou.
forward under Postecoglou, Bobby.
I can't talk about Ange Postecoglou. I'll make me ill. What I would say, guys, and look, I'm not doing it to.
Yeah, right. What's up? Yeah.
I'm not. I wasn't just being a tit for any reason. What I'm saying, I'm massively in love with this football club, and I think for us to progress moving forward, James Garner should not be in the conversation. If we're gonna go for someone, a Wharton, that type of player, even the kid at Man City, what's his name, Gonzalez.
Yeah.
I'd love it, Bobby. Can I caveat all of this, Bobby? Listen, and you've been in my chat for years, and I love you to bits, man.
Yeah.
But you know how I am. If anyone goes at me, I'm like, right, let's have this debate. But it's never perfect. I'm not saying it's Garner. What I'm saying is, my point is that all these other clubs have a player of this mold. So I'm not saying Garner's my number one choice. What I'm saying is, if Spurs went for Garner, I'd be happy. I'd love Wharton. But I have to ask myself, and I think you might agree with me here, Bobby, I'm not sure. I've just got a feeling that if Spurs started going in for talks with Wharton, I fail to believe that none of the big boys are going to say, hang on, Wharton's available. I fail to believe that Liverpool, Chelsea, United, I fail to believe that someone else won't want him, right?
Every one of them, yeah. Well, we've had a conversation. We've had a conversation previously when we signed Archie Gray. I mean, we were in for Wharton prior to that, and I mean, I don't know what. Yeah, I mean, someone mentioned there. I should have went to Specsavers. Our scouting system should have went to Specsavers for a while. I mean, it's ridiculous. But I just don't. Like I said, I know what you're saying in regards to Garner. I just think that let's remove his name out of our lips. It's not that. That's not a person. That's not a person. Yeah. Just quickly, Alex Scott is the boy. I'm telling you now.
Hang on. He's not a deep line playmaker.
He's not.
Hang on, guys. We'll come to that. I just need to show you this quickly. So now, I'm just showing you. I don't know. Don't shoot the messenger. Lots of people are telling me this guy is reliable. And that he's come out and said that Van Hecke is out. It's Spurs and only Spurs. The Orange International is awaiting agreement between Brighton, Hove Albion, and Tottenham, but is no longer speaking with any other clubs. Personal terms agreed. More to follow. I don't know. Don't shoot me. It's not breaking news from me. I'm not doing a bomber. I'm just saying lots of people are telling me this guy is reliable. So do what you want to do, people, with this news. If this is correct, over to you, Tottenham Hotspur, to get a fee agreed. Alex Scott, Corey, Bobby, I'll let you two go for this.
Go on, Cor.
No, you first.
The reason I think, and I think you've mentioned it. Sorry, I jumped on late, so I don't know what's happened prior to me jumping on. I think, and I think Sav mentioned earlier, we need a massive reshuffle in midfield from top to bottom. So, in my eyes, I think Alex Scott, he's a massive Tottenham fan. I know he's not a deep lying midfielder, but for me, and I love Conor Gallagher as well, he showed me absolutely nothing last season. And I think Alex Scott he takes him is slightly higher than what we've currently got. I think with him, Maddison, and then a ball playing midfielder, not Garner, a ball playing midfielder. That's
So
not
Garner,
Garner.
Madison, and Scott, right? You want Garner, Scott, and Madison?
No, not Garner. So Scott, Maddison, and somebody else.
Gray, Scott Gray,
Absolutely
and
not.
Madison.
Absolutely not. Gray now. No,
we got names. We got names, Bobby.
No, mate. No, Archie Gray and Bergvall shouldn't be anywhere near this squad next season.
Yeah.
Can I just say, before Corey comes in, I don't disagree with you, Bobby. I see, for me, I think if Tottenham, I've got nothing against Tottenham buying Alex Scott. I like Alex Scott. I just don't think Alex Scott is your main guy, if that makes sense. I agree with you. I think if you buy a Scott, you've still got to buy. I'm dead set on this. I will not change my mind for anything. I will lose my mortgage on this. Spurs need a main man who runs games. Get Scott as well. And if Spurs had anything about them, Sarr, Gray, Bergvall, Basuma, they'd all be out, and you'd go in and buy a main man and an Alex Scott. That
I can agree with.
Perfect.
I can agree with. Yeah.
Well,
and it's not this guy. No, Pete. No, Pete. No. I want a ball player. We need a ball player.
He was trying to start that argument yesterday all evening. We just shut it down. For me, no. You need your Tonali's. You need your Locatelli's. You need a Garner of that ilk that can play.
We don't.
Yes. Also meets the homegrown English quota that we need, because we've not got many of them. You might say no, blah, 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 but you're advocating for Bentancur, the guy looking at stats and watching him play. He's declined since his injury. He's gone down the toilet.
No, I didn't. What I'm saying is I watched all of Tottenham. So when Bentancur come back in, he was considerably better than what we had, which was Archie Gray and Bergvall. It was ridiculous. But then
a block of cheese is better than Gray and Bergvall doing.
Yeah, exactly. So... That I can agree with you, Corey. What I would also say is Maddison was out for a whole season. He played limited minutes, and he was leaps and bounds the better player. What I'm saying, we need to scratch it up, cut it all up, and start again. Now, whether that's it's not Garner, but whether that's someone as a deep line ball playing midfielder. I mean, if we're being serious, Adam Wharton.
I said 4 years ago on Savva's show about Adam Wharton before everybody knew him. Hello.
Yeah.
I even said it before, like, Palace were linked to him, and I said to Sav, there was another guy, I think it was Eugene, I was like, this young lad at Blackburn, Wharton, he's going to be really good, and people are going to froth at the mouth of him in 2-3 years' time. I got said I didn't know what I was fucking talking about by the American kid. And now he's frothing out the mouth for him on other channels. You're like,
it doesn't matter that it doesn't matter that he's American. Just so it doesn't matter.
No, but like when I say watch this kid, it's going to be special, and I get told I don't know what I'm talking about.
It doesn't matter that the kid with the opinion was American or English or Scott. It doesn't matter where he's from. Come on, man.
There's dummies everywhere. But I agree with you, Bobby. Like, I think we need to clear out, and we've all seen it. Like, this last 2 years have been atrocious. Like, who wants to watch this? Like, let's just burn the stadium down if we're going to keep doing this, because it's just disgusting, And so to your point, whoever it is, like, we know the formula that's there, and we have a few of the players, like, we got to get that building block, right? To like support Matters, to support the Gallaghers right now, and whoever is going to play there. And there's that one linchpin. So if the club doesn't see that, then we're screwed because it's going to be a lot of the same.
The team built is always from the spine of the team, from your centre backs up through your midfielders, because then you pass it out wide to your wingers and your wing backs. the strong base of a team, as I've always believed, comes from the centre. So you need your Gallaghers, you need your Tonali's, your Grimeshes, your Bruno Fernandezes of this football world now. You need those kind of players in the middle to dictate the tempo of the play, for them to hold the ball an extra few seconds to find the pass. We've been missing that since Modric and Dembele. I was about to say Bale, but different side, but still a midfielder. We have been missing the quality in midfield for years, and it's been apparent that this has gone on for so long with this ownership. Now they've finally woken up after 26 years. What, someone just decided to go and turn on the plug or the light switch in the boardroom? They've gone, oh shit! You know.
When did we last buy a top centre midfielder?
Dembele.
Yeah.
Modric.
Right? Like, do you know what I mean, guys? Like, when did we last buy? You think in that time, Newcastle have gone out and got, I say in that time, if we go since Dembele, right? So Dembele left in January 19, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Right? Hang on, sorry. Let me just, somebody trying to come into the studio. Let me kick. I have no idea who that is. Let's ban them from the studio. Let's kick them out. Sorry. It's the worst thing about putting the link in. You get idiots. Since 2019, you think Newcastle have gone and bought Tonali and Guimaraes, right? Like, Spurs have bought what? Now, don't get me wrong. Bentancur, I've always liked Bentancur to a degree, but never thought he's not that level. I like it, right? You think in that time, Forest have signed Gibbs White and Elliot Anderson. Forest. Palace in that time have signed Adam Wharton, right? You think how many Chelsea have signed in that time, and City and Arsenal and Liverpool, and how are we so bad at this? Like, how have we not addressed the engine room for 7 years? That is 14 windows.
Yeah.
14 windows.
We're a train wreck.
It's unforgivable.
Yeah.
It is actually unforgivable. But last season, I can honestly say, me and you had a conversation, Sav, when Andrew was manager. I went to watch the Chelsea game when we went down to 9 men, and he decided to pin everyone on the halfway line, and we were just having balls over the top, and he was getting praised for it. I went to watch the game, and I walked out. I literally walked out. I was like, what am I watching? The guy got praised for it. So we've gone from that, and it's just been a shit show ever since. An absolute shit show. And I think when they appointed De Zerbi, I was worried. I thought he's not going to be able to implement this style of play because we're actually after something different. We're looking to stay in the league. But I mean, he's been, I think we'll do very well under him. I think we'll do very, very well. But I think
we will if we get the right footballers, right? Like at the moment, it feels like we're getting it right at the back, but I still, and it's early days. Like it's early days in the window. But for me, what will be the real telltale signs for me, chaps, is show us going forward what's changed. Yeah. So I'll say this: if we start the season with Richie or Solanke as your number one striker, for me, nothing's changed. Right?
No, we can't.
If one of those starts the season, nothing's changed. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Can we get rid of both in 1 year? I think probably not. But go and get a number one striker. Go and get a number one striker. Go and get Savio on the left. Get Kudus fit on the right. Get Maddison fit all summer to play attacking midfield. Suddenly we start looking a little bit more entertaining.
Your gray hair is on the way, Savva. Your gray hair is on the way. It's coming because Solanke's going to be there.
Oh,
I think Solanke will be there.
I had to get him to pluck a few. They're coming, mate. They are coming out the beard as well. And
Savva, at least you've gone here. Look, mine's gone.
Oh man, mine's love it, Bobby.
Gone.
Love it. Just quickly before we go, I'm going to wrap up in the next 5 minutes. Other than Van Hecke, Savio is the name. Listen, it's clear that Spurs want him. This is now the third window in a row. I'm a fan. I think that he'll actually be really expressive under De Zerbi. I feel like at Man City, they play a very certain type of way, which isn't really, it's not really made. It's not tailor-made for wingers at City like Savio. Where are you guys with that? 45, 50 million? How are you feeling about if we get that deal done?
Finally, a bit of quality on the left because we have fucking Odebear and Tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I said the other night, like when it comes to how we could set this team up, we could have Van de Ven playing out left back with Savio at left wing, and them two with their frightening pace on that wing opens up a massive avenue. You'd have Kudus on the right with Spence or Porro backing him up. But I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing the back of Porro. I'm done with him. Yeah, I mean, then you could have Senesi and Van Hecke at centre back.
Yeah,
which isn't a bad balance, you know. It just that instantly you put in Van de Ven out for what he's good at, his pace out on the wing, because that's what he does for Holland. And then go and get me a striker. Simple.
Yeah, I think to back up what Corey said, I'm all for it. All for it. We don't always have to disagree, Corey, you see. But yeah, I mean, I think Savinho will be a completely different animal than he is at City.
I agree.
He's a part-time player at City. And I think we just bang him straight out on the left and allow him to do what he needs to do. We've been screaming for it for a while. I would also caveat that as well and say, because I've seen a few links with Cody Gakpo, and I'd be all over that as well. And I think that Dutch connection, if for whatever reason Savio falls through, Cody Gakpo I would go for all day, every day. If we end up signing Van Hecke, we've obviously got Xavi Simons here. We've got Van de Ven, and then we could go and get Cody Gakpo. And he's a dangerous player, him. So, yeah, I'd be all for that as well. But like I said, it all sounds great. But then if you've got that pigeon up front, we're screwed.
You can throw
but
balls.
You're saying, though, at least he knows where the net is. Dominic Solanke doesn't. In 10 years of pro, he's had one good year in the Premier League.
I keep trying to defend Dominic Solanke, but my patience is starting to wear thin.
Just like how I did with Big Vic.
I think Savio obviously he's got quality. I've been watching some of his, obvious highlights and different things. Like he's 22. We need to see some goal output for him, a little bit better. Obviously, he was playing in Pep's system, so that's like more closed and more rigid. Hopefully, he'll be able to express himself, like Bobby, like you're saying. I mean, I would go for Rashford if Barcelona don't have the money. That's me, and I'd get two. It's not going to hurt us. And these guys are prone to injury. It just happens. So, if you could bring in Rashford on the loan for 1 year and then have Savio, I mean, I feel like we're strengthened, right? We're not just replacing in and out. And then, Tell, if we want to keep him on the right, I'd still rather him go. And then Odebear, just give him time. He's young, let him heal, and then he can, play a few minutes at the end of the season. But
nah, I can't see it
no,
with Odebear.
Leave him there.
I think if Spurs had anything about them, get Savio. If you can get Rashford on loan as well, get him in. Then you've got Savio, Rashford, Kudus, Maddison, Simons when he comes back. Now you start to look a little bit, I don't know, just different profiles of players. I want Spurs when they go forward. I want to be not just excited, but I want to think, it can go anywhere and they're all going to do something. At the moment, it's unless it goes to Kudus, I feel like nothing is going to happen when Tottenham go forward. If you've got Rashford flying down the left, or Savio cutting inside and Rashford through the middle, Kudus on the right and coming inside, I just feel like we might, like pace, power. Look, I don't know, guys. Look, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to do some super chats. Look, as I said, Savio, I can't turn around hand on heart and go, oh my God, he's amazing. But I really liked him at Girona. He played in a very different way at Girona. And I just think that fraudulent slip. I just think that De Zerbi would open that up. And I think when people just go, he's only got a few goals this season, like, yeah, but only plays a few minutes. I think he'd be good, but we'll see. Look, let me do some super chats, guys. First of all, from Ian JD, who's a member, said, good signings. The goal should be to upgrade on what we had last season. Robertson is an upgrade on Davis. Senesi is an upgrade on Romero and Dragusin. Completely agree. Ian, it's what top clubs do. They upgrade on players every year, and it's why they refresh, and it's why that they're top clubs. We're too sentimental for the likes of Romero and Davis and all of these players. So I completely agree. Big up to you. Andy Lester, how you doing, bro? So big up, Savva. Good start. Let's hope it continues. Yeah, listen, absolutely. Look, the title of my show wasn't rage bait or clickbait. It was good start. We're off to a bang, but now show us. Now, if they go and get Savio and Van Hecke over the line in the next week, and we've dropped 100 million on those two, you go, hang on, this is different. Tottenham are moving. So let's see, right? Let's see. Big up to Bone Star 2K. Said, Savva, speaking of free transfers, would you take Vlahovic on a free? Vlahovic is an interesting one. If you'd asked me this 3 years ago, I would have said absolutely. I would say absolutely now.
Juve?
Pardon?
You talking before he joined Juve when he was at Fiorentina?
Yeah, I thought Fiorentina was excellent. I never thought that Juve was the right style of football for him. But again, are you going to get the Vlahovic of old or the recent one? But he's better than Solanke and he's better than Richarlison. So would I take him on a free? Yeah, I'd take you, Bone Star 2K, on a free over the strikers we've got. This good-looking bastard has just given out 5 free memberships. Well done to whoever that is. I've heard he's very, very good-looking. If you got a membership, good luck to you. Big up to Futures, Bright Futures. Lily White said, thanks, Savva. Not £500. I wish I could. You're worth it. Yes. Yeah, the last stream I did, I got a £500 super chat. It was mind-blowing. But listen, bro, really appreciate the super chat either way. Thank you. Very, very generous indeed. And really appreciate that. A user said, Savva, thank you so much for the TV membership. Listen, you're more than welcome. I'm only doing one show a week, so hopefully you enjoy it and get to use it. Really appreciate you, A user. Thanks for all your support. The penultimate one is Reece Spurs. So keep up the great screen. Keep up the great stream, Savva. Love tuning in. Thanks, Reece. I'll be back next weekend at some point. I don't do them in the week anymore, but catch my videos in the week. Big up to you, Reece. And Finn said, Illiman and Dye over Savio. Yeah, look, I like Illiman and Dye. I do think people have gone way overboard about him. I like him, but again, you've got to look and say, is he available? How much is he going to cost? I don't know. Maybe he's not on the radar of De Zerbi. But yeah, if Spurs sign and die, I've got no problem with that either, Finn. So big up to you, my man. Thank you. Yes, I will, Bobby. Andy, sorry. I will. Sorry. My new job's got me so busy, my man. It's ridiculous. But I will. I promise. I promise you. I do. I promise you. Bobby, Corey, Gary, thanks for coming on, guys. Any last words on James Garner or anything else?
No to James Garner. That's why I jumped on.
Yes to James Garner. This sounds like a Real Madrid backroom thing. Like, if you get me to be your next president, I'll get you James Garner. My manager's gonna be.
I'd rather have Ange back. I genuinely would.
No.
If we went and got Ange back, I would go and puke on that pitch.
Just remember this, right? At the end of the summer, when Arsenal or Liverpool take James Garner for 75 million, just remember this. We'll get Bobby back on.
I'm more than that. James Garner won't be sold for 75 million. He won't even be sold for 50 million. He'll go nowhere. He's had no interest. Let's steer clear of him and let's sort this club out.
Same
it's the club
guy
everyone
who
loves.
thinks Bentancur is better.
Gary,
Corey.
anything to add?
Let's get Van Hecke done. Let's get Savio done. Enjoy the World Cup, and then let's kick on.
It's right
I'm
for
well
you, though,
far
Gary,
away,
living in
so
the States. You get to watch it in the middle of the afternoon, and I get to watch it at 2 a.m.
I'm going to be over there for half of it. Remember, I'm flying into London next Sunday. So,
yeah, Gary, we're having drinks.
That's right.
Yeah, meeting in London for drinks.
Off the
right,
Sabbath
guys.
for another barbecue.
That's right.
No. It took me hours to clear up. No. Guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much. Listen, guys and girls, what I say, I'll do a couple of videos this week. Can't be bothered with all the thumbnails. I can't stand it. But we'll see what happens. Let's get Van Hecke done. If we don't, we don't. But all I want to see from Spurs is, if we're not going to get every target, all I want to see, guys and girls, is if we don't get a target, move on. Who's the next one? That's what I want to see. Not, we couldn't get the target, we'll buy someone in the next window. So on that note, much love. Take care. Let me see if anybody is live quickly. I don't know if anyone's live for me to read direct to. Does anyone know if anyone is live? 1 second. Let's check. YouTube. live. Can't see anyone that's live. Don't worry about it. Guys, much love. Take care. And as always, come on, you Spurs.